Hey, everybody. This is the Show Buddies podcast. I'm Aaron Hefel, and I'm sitting here with Dave Davison from Maps and Atlases. And we're going to talk a little bit about music and a few other things. Dave, first question I wanted to ask you was, where'd you grow up?
So, well, thank you for having me on the show. I'm excited to be here and excited to be in Dubuque. And thanks for bringing me/us out here. And
Killer show last night.
thank you. As a kid, I lived in Pennsylvania outside of Philadelphia. And then while still a kid, moved to Indiana, sort of just outside of Chicago-ish. And that's basically it.
Okay. So what was you go from Pennsylvania, Indiana, you're close to Chicago. What's the first show that you can remember like going to on your own?
I think about this. A really formative show that I went to was the big radio station in Chicago was a Q101, like sort of alternative rock station. And my dad very kindly offered to take me and a couple of my friends to go to their like big outdoor yearly show they do called Jamboree, or used to. The radio station isn't, I don't know, I think they still exist, but they're not like
Not doing big concerts.
Yeah, exactly.
And stuff,
And that show, I was like going into 7th grade, I think. And he took us and sort of just chilled in the lawn area, but me and my friends went, back and forth between the stages. And it was super, super formative. I just remember last night at the show, I played some, 90s alternative rock.
Oh, yeah, what was that first song? What was that?
Well, I was partially just doing that. We can, talk about that more, but I was kind of in a space like that where a lot of people are chatting and talking and all this stuff, which is totally normal and fine. But when you're sort of playing by yourself and playing new songs and very like lyrically driven songs, I was like, well, this maybe will get people's attention and also be something that, if they hate me playing.
Well, it kicks the door open a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I know that one. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
Was that Eve 6 or who was that?
Oh, I played a Third Eye Blind song.
Third Eye Blind.
But Eve 6 did play the
at the Jamboree thing?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
They were
Okay, so it was around then.
Yeah, and like every band, like I can still remember like seeing every band that day, and actually Foo Fighters was the headliner, and we were playing Lollapalooza the same day as Foo Fighters, and Pat Smear was standing around just kind of by himself, like in the sort of catering area before they played, and I was like, I don't usually go up and bother people too much, but I actually did bring up the Jamboree thing, and I was like, that was like the first time I ever went to anything like this, and it's really cool that we're playing
a show together. Yeah,
and he was very nice, and despite being antagonized by me,
wow.
He was like, yeah, cool, man, thanks a lot,
Hey.
But yeah, that was very sweet. Anyway, that was like the first show. It was like really eclectic. Space Hog.
Oh, wow.
E6, Ben Folds 5. Foo Fighters, I think that so that was really memorable. But
How about Small Club?
Small Club, it's interesting. I feel like I started going to shows and I like didn't even like think about them being like
Important.
like I didn't think about them being like in the same like category as like I it's kind of hard to remember even what the first like sort of indie or punk show I went to, because it just kind of seemed like me and my friends would play like, these kind of really VFW type places. Yep. And,
all ages type spots. And
yeah, exactly. Like it was like barely even seemed like an actual show. So yeah, it's kind of a non-answer, but probably saw tons of bands that I didn't even realize we were going to go on to.
I look at some of those like Michigan Fest or these crazy festivals that were happening in that like late 90s, early 2000s, like mostly hardcore fests, I guess.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a lot of different types of bands, and it's like now with like the revitalization or nostalgia. it's like all these bands who are, back out on tour after having not played for a long fucking time.
Totally.
It's wild to think like all of them on one show, and that was probably some of the things that you were seeing. So was that in Indiana? Is it like you're starting bands in high school and stuff like that? Like after, have you been playing guitar? Like, did that start in high school, or did you play?
I started earlier. So my older sister started getting guitar lessons, and she was very into like Poison and stuff like that. Like, very into like the sort of 80s, like monsters of rock.
Hair metal, glam rock.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so she got an acoustic guitar and started getting lessons, and I just kind of started playing like her guitar and not really having any particular like, oh, I'm really into music, but just like, oh, this is like something to do, I guess. And obviously copying your older sibling and
playing some CC DeVille.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But then like by the time that I actually kind of started getting into music on my own, I had like already been playing a little bit. Yeah. And it was kind of like a trick basically, because I was so young, like that was like, wow, you can do this, all this weird stuff. And also my aunt is like a guitar player, and I think maybe partially to like, after we moved from Pennsylvania to, she was very kind to send sort of like VHS tapes in the mail of like, here's how you do it, this chord.
Oh, wow.
And I still have those tapes, and I really appreciated that she did that. So
that education was like being built early.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, because I think when people listen to Maps and Atlases or listen to your guitar playing, I mean, the entire band's fucking amazing, but they hear that. Like, I mean, it's just like there's a level of musicianship that is above. and that makes sense that you've been playing since you were a child. I mean, I feel like you can tell the ideas and the execution are really interesting and intricate, and definitely one of the things that drew me to the band. And so it actually kind of leads me to, well, was Maps and Atlases your first band? Okay, it sounds like not. It sounds like you had a few like high school bands and.
I had a really a couple really unusual bands that I was in that were kind of like cover bands that, I don't know, it's maybe too long of a story, but but mostly it was in a kind of a nebulous group of like, friends that I still, really love and am in touch with. But like, it was always just interchanging like members, and it was sort of like, oh, now we're doing this, now we're doing that. And, that was super important and informative. And, but there also was not like really a strong, there probably was, I guess I shouldn't say there probably was all kinds of stuff happening that I didn't
21 plus or something like that.
Or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
whatever. Yeah.
But like, like we kind of just had a lot of time to incubate and occasionally have opportunities to play here and there, but not like big consequential shows. And so, I'm really grateful for that in a lot of ways that we had.
Learning how to play music with people, the bouncing off of each other. Even if you are playing covers, it's like you still have to fucking play the song together.
Yeah, totally. We for sure were like writing songs too by the time we were like in high school and stuff. But like I kind of got recruited to be in a cover band when I was like really young and playing kind of lead guitar and type stuff, which was really cool with some some older people, and then like occasionally like singing a song here and there, and I definitely never thought of myself as being like a great singer or anything by any means. I was like, oh, I really like playing guitar, and I can sort of sing along with that, and then I just continuously got, oh, well, you're the singer, of the band, and I was like, all right, whatever, and it kind of evolved into this, and
you've built a cool style. I mean, I feel like it is. I feel like it's unique. I mean,
thank you.
Vocally and guitar playing. I mean, it really is. So,
well, I appreciate that. Thank you. No, it's it's an interesting thing, to be having play guitar for so long and to be playing music for so long, and it's like it simultaneously feels like completely central to like my whole life and who I am, and then also like just a weird like trick or something at the same time. Like not a trick, but like I can like have like my whole day go on and interact with people and not have it be like, the center of the conversation, and then they'll see us play or something and be like really surprised. But then I also feel like
playing the shit out of that guitar. What
it's weird. But then like, yeah, exactly. But then like also like, a friend of mine was over recently, someone who I've known since I was basically a kid, and he was just like, you never stop playing guitar ever. That's all you do, and like, or whatever. And so it's like, it's funny to think about because it feels simultaneously.
It's like magically the guitar ends up in your hands. You're like,
exactly.
I don't know. It's right here. I definitely have had friends like that who are, that just, you don't even see the guitar show up, and then it's it's over in the other room, and then all of a sudden it's in their hands and they're practicing away or just like, making something up but it's just like a constant. And I think that's something that I'm not able to do, but it's the people that really play. I mean, they just seem to, it just appears, and they're playing all the time. It seems like it to me.
Totally. I guess we've never really talked. Are you like a musician? How did you get into doing shows and stuff?
How do I do this quick?
Podcast.
How do I do this quick? So Dubuque, much like anywhere else, was not immune to the early 90s and the alternative boom, all that kind of stuff. We had a couple of uber cool snowboarder, skateboarder type people who brought the band Shellac.
Oh, nice.
To Dubuque in like 94. It was like one of their first shows.
Cool. That's awesome.
It's just, weird shit like that. And those were people that I knew. And so I kind of, a few shows happened over the years from like between like 94, 95 to 99. And I watched them do it, and I was like, well, and my friends and I put on a couple of shows at like outdoor, much like you were saying, like VFW halls or outdoor places. Anyway, I see the people who are booking these shows, and I'm like, well, maybe I can do that.
Yeah.
And I found a venue that was one flight up. It was Alternative Lifestyles Bar, where my girlfriend and her friends were hanging out at, and Sundays were dead. And I said, hey, do you mind if I start bringing in some shows here from 5 to 9? Do you mind if kids come in? And Kevin, the owner, was cool with it, and that's pretty much how I got going back in 99. And like right away, I was going to shows in Iowa City and Madison and whatnot, mostly Iowa City at that time. And on a Tuesday night, there might be 9 people. Yeah. And I'd be like, well, I'm pretty sure I could get 9 people out in Dubuque.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a stupid metric to use.
I mean, well, we appreciate, we appreciate it. I'm sure that, hundreds of other, people who've passed through or started bands here appreciate it.
It has grown. I mean, it's been nice, and sometimes we still get the 9 people, but, and anyway, I started, just straight up asking bands that I liked. So it was, the Vita Blue, 10 Grand, Sweep the Leg Johnny.
Cool.
Was one of the first bands I ever booked.
Cool.
Lifter Puller, so anyway, that leads me to the question of, when you do get into Chicago, like, are you going to shows with Fireside and stuff like that? Is that one of the hip places to be hitting? Right? I mean, then that Sweep the Leg Johnny is probably one of those bands that I saw on the calendar all the time. And
for sure. Yeah. I don't think I actually ever saw Sweep the Lake Johnny, surprisingly, because I actually listened to them a lot at that time, but for some reason I just never saw them. I feel like the shows I saw at the Fireside were very just all over the place, but really
beautiful. That's wide.
Yeah. It was. I mean, I remember seeing the first shows that come to mind. I saw An Albatross, and then which was awesome, and Murder by Death. I saw and then
probably when they were maybe still Little Joe Gould or something, or
I think it was like, I think they were officially
still a changed name. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, but yeah, it was like all kinds of like, yeah, really eclectic shows, a lot of like hardcore kind of shows, because one of my good friends who I went to high school with, who we also went to college together and both moved to Chicago at the same time. He was really into like the hardcore scene. And I mean, I appreciated that. It wasn't like really my thing. Like I was never super into like heavy music, but I did appreciate like
the musicianship.
Yeah.
And
and it was fun and I appreciated elements of it. But yeah, so we went to, he would kind of, I feel like I'm prone to sort of just doing my own thing. And, he like a lot of my memories there are with him. I remember, I don't know if you remember the band Thunderbirds Are Now. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I really liked.
They're on French Kiss, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I really liked them, especially their first album. Like really was awesome. I'm pretty sure I saw them at the Fireside Bowl. But yeah, anyway, I saw a lot of shows. I mean, and obviously
there's other venues, but I mean that's like a classic. For
sure.
All ages too. I mean that when I think about late, I mean, and I know it was a venue longer than that, but like late 90s, early 2000s, like I just looking at the calendar is again kind of like those shows those fests I was talking about, is you just like all these bands played on one show.
Yeah, for sure. Totally. Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that like the Murder by Death show was like just a really weird mix too, that like I think that they played and it was like they played like first and then Poison the Well played and then
yeah,
it's really a lot of I have a lot of great memories of that place. And then also like I credit a lot to being in the band that I was learned a lot more about like cool stuff that was happening around town. And I have so many cool memories of like just house shows in Chicago too, like seeing like bands that were really just unbelievably cool and interesting playing like in a living room or kitchen and stuff.
Basements,
and that was definitely like inspiring to us, where we were like, I don't know, we were really into playing unusual spaces. And like we loved that.
You guys do a Denny's? No
Denny's. We did play, I feel like we played Ruby Tuesday though. I don't know if it was actually like, I don't know, I can't even remember legitimately. It was in Columbus, Ohio, but I don't know if it was like actually a Ruby Tuesdays or whatever, know that chain, the like burger place or whatever.
Just like the outside looked like one. And you're like, what the fuck?
I think it might have been something like that. But we played a lot of weird places, but that I think like seeing like, I remember one specific show, like I remember seeing the band Parts and Labor.
Yeah.
And they played at this place that was just like right down the street from where I was living, like right after the band started. I was probably, like 20 or something. And they played like super, super late at night. And like, I remember like going home and it was like the sun was coming up. But like, I think Aaron, the guitar player from Maps and Atlases, I think that we went together, and I was just like, I remember just being like, I can't believe that was so amazing. But like, yeah, we went to so many cool shows. I don't know.
Like Chicago's just bustling with that kind of shit. I mean, so you were saying that like you had a buddy that was into the hardcore, definitely like getting you kind of like familiar with that. Now, did you and the other guys in Maps and Atlases, do you kind of like feel that and like figure out a way, try to figure out a way to harness the energy without the aggression? Was that like a conscious decision, or?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting. I mean, I think that like that's an interesting question. Yeah, I think that like I was definitely into like sort of deconstructing everything, like. I think we all were, but like, I think that the more that we were experimenting with music together, both like lyrically and musically, it was like trying to find new ways of thinking and arranging music and have it still be listenable and, you know, evocative, you know, and fun and, you know, and all those things. And, you know, like I definitely was, you know, I think that like hardcore music and technical music of any kind, like dabbles in the same exercises, if not like with the same spirit. So yeah, I think that there was something to that. And also we were like, you know, in our late teens, early 20s, I guess. I don't know. I think I must have been 20, I guess, when I first started playing in the band.
Oh,
wow. Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think I ever had any 19 days in the band. But, yeah, like, we were still that age, and we were playing, like, in Chicago, but we played a lot of shows, like, in the suburbs, too, at, like, these big halls that, you know, and, you know, at that time, everyone else who was our age, or most of the other people, were playing in kind of more, like, either hardcore or, like, screamo, punk kind of bands. So, like, we were kind of, you know, oddball-y, but like also like, you know, we were happy to be a part of that scene. It's not like we were playing like
Elmhurst and stuff like that, or
or like we played like Kankakee like a lot.
Oh, okay.
And you know, it's not really exactly like a close suburb, but you know, we played really any rings around the city.
Sure.
And because you know, there were a lot more shows happening there too. It's not like we would just be like, yeah, we want to, you know.
Well, there was a scene of like all ages shows. I mean, that was part of what I guess I, you know, kind of joined in on too. It was there were just something was happening, for sure, where people were, and it's still happening. I don't know if it's been made harder, or maybe I'm just away from it more. I don't know, but yeah, there was just a wave where like smaller towns like Kankakee, Dubuque, Iowa.
Yeah,
we're all doing all ages shows, and you know, play like a safe place for bands to tour.
For sure.
Try to create that, you know, because we don't have cars. We're kids.
Yeah. Yeah. And you also can't play like, I mean, like, you know, I mean, at that time it certainly wasn't just like a choice where it's like, hey, this is our strategy. I mean, like if we could have like opened for bands that we really liked at like the Empty Bottle or whatever every night, we certainly would have done that. But like we didn't know
you can't
how
play
to do
Chicago
anything.
all the time.
Yeah.
Like you got to space it out.
Yeah. I mean, it's certainly just, but yeah, it was a really fun and special time.
Do you have people, and for like Tree Swallows Houses, I mean, were you thinking in that speed all the time? Like, I mean, like, I guess it comes back to that harnessing the energy, frenetic. I had a friend who would listen to this kind of like bumblebee orchestra from like, you know, probably like the 30s or 40s or something like that, and it was just like this, and a friend of hers got in the car and was like, "Do you listen to this all the fucking time? Like, do you?" It's like, this is what you do to chill out. Like, so I just wonder. I mean, particularly during the making of that record, were you trying to be just as fast and intricate as possible, or what was? I don't know what the question I have is.
Well, I don't want to cut you off. But yeah, I think that like we certainly weren't trying to be like as fast or like, you know, seem like virtuosic or anything. Mm-hmm. I think that like, to me, that was a big lesson in like, just like embracing kind of what, like allowing like your intuitive, like allowing your intuition to like guide a process and be like, this is, you know, this is fun, and this is like, there's something to like what we're doing together that like is like making us excited and happy, and it seems like we're onto something. We don't totally understand exactly what it is. Mm-hmm. I mean, not to be like, you know, and I think that like sort of, you know, I remember we had recorded earlier versions of a couple of songs, and I remember someone saying like something about how I was like, how like, I don't know, like saying something, and it wasn't like a positive thing about like my like vocal performance, and something about like, you know, the guitar or whatever. Basically, like this band is kind of annoying or whatever, and like,
which of course, I mean, you're gonna get that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not even saying it in a way of like, I mean, you know, I'm sure it was annoying to a lot of people, and but like kind of being like stopping, being like, oh, we should change that or this or that. Not to say that we were necessarily catering toward anybody's comments. I mean, people are, you know, welcome to like or dislike whatever they want, but like kind of being like, I kind of like the way that this is annoying.
Lean in.
Exactly. And
lean
like,
in.
There's something about this. There's something about what like this person was saying at that time that I was like, I felt like it just was like, you know what? Like, we're not trying to make something that's for everybody. We're trying to do what we're doing together that we're having fun with. And I feel like, I mean, it seems like a simple thing to say now, but I do think that like recognizing like, you know what, like it doesn't, you know, like it doesn't really matter. Like, you know, like, not, I don't know, I shouldn't say that. That's not like, it doesn't matter, but like,
well, it sounds like the bad review, you took that as, wow, that's all the shit that I actually want to be doing. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like that's it. Like, and I think that like sort of, you know, recognizing like the special, you know, synergy that we were creating, not to sound like some, you know, corporate person, but like, you know, like
a band is that. I
think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Speaking of bands, when does cast spells start to form?
So that, I think that is a good spot to discuss that, because like we were making Tree Swallows houses, and then like, you know, and had this interesting and cool way of working together, like kind of experimenting with non-linear songwriting and, you know, kind of abstract musical relationships, as well as like, you know, kind of trying to create very cinematic, you know, scenes that make up, you know, the songs, like sort of a collection of moments, as opposed to being like, this song is about this or about that. And, you know, and, you know, all my attention and focus is on writing songs that were going to be songs for Maps and Atlases, but then kind of, you know, also experimenting and growing and thinking about songs in other ways as well. Like, and, you know, so yeah, I started writing the songs that ended up being the Cast Spells EP, like at that same time, and they just felt so obviously like not in the same.
Because that was a question I wanted to ask too. Is like how do you and differentiate between when a song's going to be a Maps and Atlases, when it's going to be a Cast Spells? So I guess
yeah. Well, I think that's been an interest. I think that doing the Cast Spells EP and in that time period, that was like incredibly important and formative, because I think that like one of the things that I've realized is that I love trying to write music and lyrics and whatever in kind of new, novel ways, and make songs that, you know, hopefully people enjoy, but that no one else would have written.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that one of the dangers in being like an artist who tries to create things that are really, really new is that like I think that finding like being honest and being as creative and hopefully connecting as much as possible, like are all intertwined in making the best possible thing. And I think that for me, like it's I have to be conscious to not be hiding behind being like not favoring like newness or like novelty over those other things, which are that's what I look for in music that I listen to, is, you know,
familiarity, comfort. Like, I mean, there's there's something that songs that I like, I will almost feel like I've heard them before.
Yeah.
Like there's songs that they're new to me, but if I really like it, there's a feeling that I get that I'm like where the song is always almost like it's been with me my whole life. It's but I don't know, I don't understand it, but it's
yeah, for sure. No, I think that I totally can see that, and I think that if you can find that space and create something that, you know, people connect with, and that, you know, I think that maybe it feels like it's always been there because it's articulating something like that you already felt in a way that you hadn't before. And like, that's like, you know, in a lot of ways, the ultimate goal of that, like, sort of very important connectivity part of like creating something. It's like, hopefully you're tapping into something that people can connect to. And it's like, obviously an incredible challenge is to make something that's so unique that also does that, not just like basically like, well, what are people doing these days? Oh, getting married? Okay, let's do that. Here's a song about getting married. Yeah, you know, and it's like basically being like, I'm really grappling.
You guys like sports?
Yeah, all right, here's a song about sports. You know, like last night, Sean Muller and I were talking about writing and stuff, and we were kind of discussing this exact thing, which I don't know when this is going to come out, but, you know, check out Sean's book.
Yeah, Sean just, I can't remember what it's called. I'm sorry, Sean.
Plainclothes Hamburglar.
There we go.
It's a great title, but yeah, so.
Do you write as well?
I mean, I've never released anything like that, but I mean, I'm kind of inspired partially. I do a lot of writing, but I don't like, you know, it's always like, I mean, absorbed into songs, mostly. But yeah, I do really appreciate, you know, fiction and poetry and all forms of writing. And, you know, I mean, yeah, maybe someday that would be cool. I'd be interested to see what that experience would be like to just, I think it would be scary. So I tip my hat to him to the reading last night. I thought it was really great. And, but anyway, we were talking about writing and trying to find what exactly the point I was making. Yeah, talking about, living in that kind of, like, there's a sense of being like, well, what's this song about, you know, or whatever. And it's like, in some ways, a song being about something is like, I mean, maybe retroactively, you'd be like, oh, this was what I was trying to get at. But, like, to me, like, anything good is, like,
vague. I mean,
it still has a question to
it. Like, not opaque, but vague. Like, you want to keep the topic open for interpretation. I mean, as opposed to having like this, like, you know, anchor
for sure
of a you know, whether what we're talking about, sports or whatever it is. Yeah, it could be about sports, but it could be also be about, you know, a forest or something like that. Yeah. I appreciate lyrics like that can kind of be bent.
Yeah.
You know, and interpreted different ways.
Well, totally. I think that, like, you know, I don't ever want to write, I mean, even, like, I don't want to write stuff that people interpret to be about me and my life, you know, like, because it's like, I'm not, like, important in the process of, like, people hearing the music. Like, it's like, if I write something, it's like, obviously, it's like of my experience because that's all I know, but it's not, like, you're not supposed to be, I mean, people listen to it however they want. I mean, you're not supposed, but like, I don't want to make,
infer whatever they want to.
I don't want to make music that people need to care about, like, me in the music. I'm making stuff and I'm sharing it because hopefully, like, they can find connection in it. But in that same, the thing I was with the, you know, Sean and I were discussing, and that I feel really strongly about it, at least I won't speak for him, but like, I mean, if someone's writing like a paper, like an academic paper, it's like a similar thing where it's like, if you were coming into writing the paper and you're like, here's the answer, you know, then it's like completely not worth writing or reading, you know?
Yeah.
And similarly, like, if I write a song and I'm like, this is what the song's about and here's all the information, it's like completely pointless. But like, if the song has a question, and like, that's like when I just like, it bothers me in like a good way, when I start having like an idea that's like, that has an important question in it that I just can't let go. Like, I'll like start writing a song and I'll be playing it, and then I'll be walking my dog and like thinking about the song and singing the song on the street and like talking to, you know, my dog, talking to the dog about it. And then I'll like go, okay, I got to go to bed. And then I'll still keep thinking about it and like keep jotting down. And it's like, you know, it's like, it's important to me because I'm trying to like figure out what I'm even asking. Like, why is this important?
Right.
And like, you know, going back to the show last night, the Cast Spells show, like I hadn't played a lot of those songs in a long time. And the questions that were like, I remember feeling like really strongly like, oh, like this is, I mean, I didn't know what the questions were exactly at the time, but like and now like going back and viewing the EP as a whole, I'm like, well, it was interesting that I was so like obsessed with these themes.
Yeah.
And like a lot of them now I still like the songs, but I don't feel as urgently like,
oh yeah,
like I don't feel as strongly about the things that just like were really bothering me at that time, like that I couldn't let go, and the songs return to them.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, people definitely, and I'm one included, that when I used to hear lyrics, I would do that. I would infer like, oh, this person's talking about themselves, and what the fuck kind of life are they living? This is crazy. And the reality is, you're creating scenes. You're creating characters. These have, you know, nothing to do specifically with you, but like you're saying, like there was an overarching kind of like thematic thing that you didn't even know you were thinking about, and you go back to the words, and you're like, holy shit, I was really.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it is really interesting on that EP to think about, especially because I think there was, you know, I wasn't like, you know, 15, but I was pretty young, and like I was just kind of, there was something about the idea of like, I don't know, like, I mean, we don't need to get into all the themes, but there was something about like just aging or something that I was just like, not like just fear of getting older, but like an element of like.
Well, it's romantic too. I mean, there's a lot of romance on that record, I feel, you know, and kind of longing.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that for sure. Like,
I mean, to me, yeah exactly. Because it's, again, an interpretation, but, and I can understand, like you're trying to create that separate voice as well from the other project that you've got going on. I mean, it's.
Yeah, well, so it definitely just sort of naturally happened. Like, I think that, you know, like there were songs, like, even like there were songs that I considered putting on the Cast Spells EP that, I mean, tons of songs that ended up being, you know, Maps and Atlases songs. And
interesting.
Like, in a lot of ways, that EP was really important. I guess going back to how we started talking about this, it was really important because it sort of opened a door to like new ways of thinking about songwriting. And like, I think that like in a lot of ways I've been on that trajectory like since then, in that I think that the Trees Falls House's like approach was very like very, you know, image based, and like in terms of like the describing like scenes, describing like specific, it's like very cut up, very surreal, hopefully created, you know, an overall like, you know, some kind of, it allowed like the listener to create some sort of narrative for themselves, hopefully. But and you know, the Cast Spells EP, you know, the lyrics are, you know, very, you know, I mean, it was definitely like kind of unabashedly poetic and had a non-linear quality to the song lyrics, but it was like a little bit more opening itself up to that sort of what I was talking about earlier, where it's like, hopefully it's very novel and unique, but at the same time, like opening itself up to like more connectivity.
Yep.
And like, those are the moments that I like value the most in all of the Maps and Atlases stuff. And, you know, really any song I write is like when I feel like I can like be open and honest and like actually take on something that's really important to me in a real way, while also like doing it in a not sacrificing like the artistry aspect of it. You know, and I think it's hard to do, like, to be like
make something for everybody, but still unique to and true to yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like, I mean, that is a trick. Like, and luckily, I feel like, I mean, to varying degrees, people find it, but I mean, you've definitely connected with people. I mean, with either project. I mean, do you have more cast spells? Do you think another EP is potential?
I mean, it's possible. I don't know if I would, like, I don't know if I necessarily, like, what anything that I would do would be called. Like, I think that, you know, that EP might be a standalone, like, thing. I don't know if, like, I have tons and tons of songs. I feel, like, very, you know, I think it would be healthy and fun to release more of them. I
think we were talking last night, doing like singles or something like that. I mean, this seems to be what people do.
I mean, I certainly, you know, want to start recording a new record of some kind pretty much immediately. Now, like, I have, you know, some music I feel really strongly about and, you know, that I want to put out there. But yeah, there are songs that I wrote that definitely could have been like released as Cast Spells songs, and they feel very much like in that world. So yeah, I think that there could be,
but it might have like a different name.
Yeah, I really haven't like thought about it too much. I don't know that there's too much of a demand for for like a specific Cast Spells follow up type situation. But
right, but
you know, but maybe
if you have these songs, I mean, it's you know, what are the current Maps and Atlases plans? What's going on with you guys?
So we do have an interesting and unique show coming up in April. We just did a show at the Metro in Chicago, and that was like really, really special, fun show. Just
what was that? Was it like a?
We just basically got invited to play. Invited to play there as part of Tomorrow Never Knows Festival.
Oh, okay, cool.
And we just played you know, a bunch of. We just put together a really new, different set that we have never done before. And Aaron Elders, who hasn't played with us in a while, he's been, you know, busy doing film stuff. He came back, and you know, we practiced a bunch with me and him, and we played and had a great.
So it was a 4-piece.
Yeah,
wow,
that was really fun. And we've you know, we've gotten more invitations to do more stuff, and you know, we might do that, but we have an interesting show that we're practicing for, which is something totally different. Which is they're doing like the City Winery is doing like a sort of classic albums series, and I knew like after the Metro show, I was like, I'm gonna need something fun, you know, musically to like practice for and look forward to. I mean, besides obviously I just mentioned doing recording and whatnot, but we are doing songs from the Big Chair, the Tears for Fears album, which is 40 years old this, like, pretty much last week, I think. But it's such, it's going to be an incredible challenge for sure.
Does that got, like, everybody wants to rule the world on it?
Yeah.
No? Oh, wow.
Shout. Over heels. And
that's a big one.
Yeah, definitely. So our friend Aaron Stovall from the band So Many Dynamos that we used to play with all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Too. But he's like, you know, super talented, and he's going to come play synth on it. And yeah, we've got a lot of work cut out for us, but that'll be really fun. And we might do that a couple other times since we're obviously going to put a ton of time and effort into trying to perfect it. But so that's like the immediate thing coming up. But yeah, I'm going to hopefully do some recording and release some new music too, in some capacity soon.
But super fun. Well, Dave, I really appreciate you coming here and playing a show and having a little chat with me. I'm sorry you had to drive through some crappy weather yesterday.
No,
it
was worth it.
March, apparently now.
Yeah. Well, no, thank you so much, Aaron. You've always been so super supportive and welcoming, and introduced us to Buke, and I really have always enjoyed coming here. I have really distinct and nice memories of every time we've been here, and so much of that is thanks to you and your welcoming us out here. So thank you very much, and shout out again to Thax and Sean. For reading last night as well. That was really cool, and I really like starting to, Iowa's not starting to like, but Iowa's starting to seem kind of like a home away from home, because it seems like we play here more than we play in Illinois now.
Hey, you're always welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Aaron.